There's only a few.
I would pay
A few hundred.
All right, so let's do this.
Let's do this.
Do you have any Kleenexes?
No. Let's do this. Let's do this. Hush, let me get to my point. So, I think that tomorrow we definitely want to go over Q and R. It would be really bad for me to assign homework on Halloween.
Yeah, it would.
So S will probably be done in class tomorrow. Sound good? Yep. But I still want to lecture on it. Is that okay?
Yeah.
We good?
Yes.
Everyone happy? All right. All right. So I think you'll get these pretty well. So we're gonna start writing quadratic formulas, whether we're given the vertex or not. We're gonna have to start using the calculator to write these. Okay. Okay, so pretty quick, pretty easy. I think this is some of the easiest stuff. This is our vertex equation, agreed? Usually there's an h right there, there's a k right there. The general form to this is y equals a x minus h quantity squared plus k, where the vertex is h comma k. Why'd they use h and k? Not my decision, okay? So if I had given you 2, 3, and I had plugged in the 2 here, notice the change sign because it's grouped, and the 3 here, a negative 3 there. What other value would you need? What does the A tell you about? It's like the slope, it's like the pitch of it. So if you were looking at a picture of one, you might be able to figure out the pattern graph, right? So if it goes right 1, up 1, you know that your A value is 1. If it goes right 1, down 1, you know that your A value is negative 1. If it goes right 1, up 2, you know your A value is 2. But then there's others that might be more difficult. So there are some tricks that we can use in order to find it, but this is the long and the short of it. All right. Yeah, let's just go here. All right. I just kind of moved along. So here is my general equation. This is my general equation, agreed? So if I were to plug in my vertex, this is my h value, this is my k value. Everyone agree? Anyone stuck on that? All right, you guys talking too much over there. So I get x plus 4. It's plus 4 because I'm plugging in negative 4 for it. And then plus 7. So it is possible we might be able to check out if it with pattern graphs, but we might not. So if it does pattern graph, great. We know that the a value has to be negative. So does it go right 1, down 1, right 1, down 3 to that point? It does. So what does my a value have to be in this one? 1. Close. Negative 1. So my equation to this is this. So that's kind of the first way. If you can look at it and you can see the pattern graph of what it does, you can go ahead and start figuring it out. Does that make sense?
Yep.
You don't have to do it this way. I'm going to show you another way as well, but that's just the first way of introducing these problems. Can I move on? Cool. All right. So here's our second problem. So I know that my general equation is this: y equals x minus h quantity squared plus k. This is my h. This is my k. So I'm going to get y equals a x minus 3 quantity squared minus 5. Do you agree with that so far? We might be able to figure out the pattern graph. I know my a value has to be positive because the parabola opens upward. Agreed? So let's take a look at this. It doesn't look like it goes right 1, up 1, but it looks like it might go right 1, up 2. If that's the case, I would have to go right 1, up 6. Hey, that worked. So my a value is 2 on this one. And again, sometimes you can see the pattern graph and how it works. Sometimes you can't. Is that okay so far?
Yeah.
And a lot of times how you're going to see this work is when you look at the graph. If they gave you the graph saying, hey, what's the equation? That's what this is. Can I move on? All right, we know my A value has to be negative. This is my H. This is my K. I get Y minus A, X minus H, quantity squared plus K. And then I have Y equals A, X plus 2, is that right? Plus 10. So let's see if we can figure out my A value.
7.
7? Could be. So write one down, maybe 2. I don't know, maybe. And then write one down 6. No, that didn't work. It might be a fraction. So if you can't see the pattern graph, what do you think about this point? What do you know about 2, 2? They're both 2's, I get you. But is this 2 an X value and this 2 a Y value?
Yeah.
Thanks. Do I have an X and a Y that's in my equation?
Yeah.
So if I plug those in, that X and Y into my equation, I could solve the A value. Agreed? So this is, we're going to leave this alone for right now. So I'm going to go 2 equals A, X plus 2. Oh, what's this X going to be? X is going to be a 2, isn't it? Squared plus 10. Agree? That's an A. That's not a 2. I'm sorry, I make them dorky. So 2 equals 4A plus 10. Agree? Did I do that right? No?
2 equals 16.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. 16. Yeah, that's 4 squared. All right, subtract 10. So that's negative 8 equals 16A. So A has to equal negative 1/2. Right? Because if I divide both sides by 16. All right, so then I have Y is equal to negative 1/2 X plus 2 squared plus 10. That's my equation. Okay?
Yeah, can you do this for the other? So like,
Yeah, you could have done that on the other ones as well.
okay.
It's just I saw the pattern graph happen right away on those. May I move forward? Idiot. Okay, so that's how all of these need to be done. Okay? So things I know. I have Y equals A, X minus H, quantity squared plus K. I know my vertex is H and K. I know this point is X and Y. Agree so far? So let's plug in what we know. I got 54 is equal to A minus 3. H is minus 1. Quantity squared plus my K value is negative 10. Take a look. Did I plug things in appropriately?
Yeah, now you do the math.
Yeah, just arithmetic. All right, so that's negative 4, right?
So that's positive 16.
Yeah, it's positive 16. So I get 16A minus 10. Add 10 to both sides, so that's now going to be 64 over here equals 16A. So A has to equal 4. Did I do that right? 64 over 16 is 4? I hope. All right, so then I'm just going to plug my A value back in. Leaving my X alone. My H is still minus 1. My K is still minus 10. There's my equation. Okay, so use your HK, your vertex, and your point given to solve for A, and then go from there. Do I need to do number 5, or can I move on?
Returning Q.
We will take care of Q and R tomorrow, and then we'll work on S tomorrow in class, so you won't have homework.
Oh, did I actually did my
Oh, did you?
Oh, right here.
Let's see. That's yours. Okay, well, these are good. We're good here on those. Those are different ones. All right. So no, I'm okay not doing number 5.
Yeah.
All right. So write an equation for a quadratic with a vertex here and a y-intercept at 0, 20. Is this the same way?
Yeah.
Because this is still an x and y value, agreed? This is still an h and k value, so you just plug them all in here to solve for A. Is that okay? And I don't think I need to really step forward because it's just arithmetic I'm doing. All right. So then, it says, write an equation for the parabola that has the intercepts at 3, 0, 9, 0. The graph is at there. So this is,
Oh, you got the roots.
yes. There I have the roots.
And then you
You
plug
can
the
just
stuff.
like.
And then I can plug my x and y in. Agree? Is that okay? Oh, wait. Wait. I did something wrong. Those are both x's. Sorry. There's a 7 right there. I'm so sorry. Those are both x's. All right, so 16 equals 7 minus 4 is 3. 7 minus 9 is negative 2. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6a.
Shouldn't it be 7 minus 3?
It's something not four. Oh yeah, there's no 4.
Oh, that's a 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like making stuff up as we go along. That's a 4. That's
negative 2.
That's got to be a negative 8. Is that right? All right, so then I have an a value equals negative 2, and then I have enough information. Do I know my vertex at this point?
Nah.
So y equals a x minus h quantity squared plus k. I have to go through and maybe solve it a little bit more.
Do you just plug in the x and y and the a and just?
Well, I think what we can do, because we know our intercepts, what's halfway between 3 and 9? 6, yeah. So my vertex is actually going to be at 6 comma something.
And then you plug 6 in.
You plug 6 in, but we still don't have our a value, or we do have our a value. But you know what? I'm gonna hold off on this, and I'm gonna show you another method that's gonna make this work here in a second. Okay? Good. All right. I'm gonna go off. So I am. This would be as good as normal. All right. So if I have a 0 at 10, that means I have 10 comma 0. If I have a 0 at 8, that means that's going to be negative 8 comma 0. Agreed?
Mm-hmm.
And then a point on the graph is that. Okay? You ready to get nerdy with me? Okay, here we go. All right, we're hitting to the calculator. So I'm going to go second memory. I'm going to reset all defaults. Okay? Clear. Second memory. Reset. All. And then reset. There we go. Okay, I did that just to clear everything out. Still with me? I also want to turn my diagnostics on, okay? Where did I turn diagnostics on? Where did that live at? It's under second 0, second catalog. I'm going to go down to the letter D for diagnostics, and I'm going to turn those on. That's going to be my R and my R squared value. Okay, so I'm going to turn my diagnostics on. That's going to allow R and R squared. When you're dealing with the quadratic, those are going to be important. All right.
So you go second what?
Second 0, down to D. Go find diagnostics, turn it on. We good? Can I move on?
No. Says diagnostic.
So you want it on.
Okay, go
You just want it on. It's good to go now. Sure, there's no force in that punch. There's no force in that punch. You have no force coming out of seated position on throwing. If you're going to take a punch, that's the one to take, because that's just a little love tap. All right. So I now am going to plug in my points into my stat plot. So I'm going to go second y equals. Still with me? I'm going to make sure my stat plot 1 is on. Everything else looks good. Agree? So now my stat plot's on. We happy? All right, so now I'm going to go stat. That's that red button right there. I'm going to go to edit. And then I have to look. List 1's going to be my x values, and I got to keep them in some sort of order. So I'm going to go negative 18, 10, negative 8. 18, 10, negative 8. 18, 10, negative 8. Agree? My L2 is going to be my y components. Make sure you keep your ordered pairs together. So I have negative 104, 0, 0. Agreed? Negative 104, 0, 0. Is that okay?
Yep.
Being we reset everything, if I go to zoom stat, which is 9, it's going to look like that. You see your 2 coordinates where it crosses the x-axis, and then you see this arbitrary other point. Okay so far?
Mm-hmm.
You ready to be wowed?
Super.
Okay, so our data is in the calculator. We have nothing else in the calculator because we reset it. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to hit stat one more time. Still with me?
Yep.
I'm going to move over to calculate. You still with me? Being we're dealing with quadratics, we should hit quad regression. You hit linear regression, it's going to try and give you the straight line, but I'm going to hit quadratic regression. We're using list 1, list 2. That sounds great. Let's go down and calculate it. And so notice that r squared value is 1. That means the calculator's positive. This is the only parabola that works with that. So my quadratic is y equals negative 0.5x squared plus 1x plus 40. Okay? If we wanted to graph this, I go back into y equals. You remember it's under vars? Remember under statistics? And equation. So go ahead and plug that in. Puts this big old thing in there. We hit graph. We zoom out a smidge. There's our parabola. Notice this parabola contains all those points. We had an r squared value of 1. That's fantastic. If the r squared value is 1, what's the r value? Anyone know?
1.
1, because the square root of r squared is r. Square root of 1 is 1. Oh, this is such cool stuff. I got time to do one more. You let me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Let's move on. Let's do this one. I'm just going to write these down so it's a little quicker for me. I got 0, negative 30. I got 4, negative 26. I got 5, negative 16. Yes, I understand there's a parabola right there. We could probably look at it and get the vertex. But let's geek it out a little bit more. Okay? All right. So we can do this. If we want, we can go into stat. All right. Go into y equals first. Hit clear. Get rid of your parabola. Still with me? Rather than going through it and resetting your diagnostics every time. Okay, so going to stat, go to the edit, and list 1, I'm going to go 0, and I'm just going to overwrite right over on top of these. 0, enter, 4, enter, 5, enter, 6, enter, and then those are the points given. Whoops. 0, something didn't go right. 0, that's a 4, enter, 5, enter, and 6, enter. And then over to list 1, or list 2, excuse me, I got negative 30, enter, negative 26, enter, negative 16, enter, 0, enter. Is that okay? So I just wrote the points down here from that problem. So then I can go zoom. What do I have to do to see my points? Zoom stat. So it looks like that. Okay. Now, here's where a lot of people make a mistake. This appears like, oh, check it out, that's the parabola right there. No, your calculator understands that it's doing this. It's doing this, okay? This doesn't flow enough to be quadratic, meaning the growth pattern between them, so you can't call this your vertex. Okay, you ready?
Yep.
I'm geeking out. Stat, still with me? Stat what? Calculate. Calculate what?
9.
Quadratic.
Yeah, I want the quadratic. You don't want natural log regression. Okay, we're going to calculate the quadratic regression. Hit enter. We got a pretty good R squared value. It's 99.9% accurate. That's my equation to that parabola. If I want to graph it, I hit y equals. Where do I find the equation I just made?
Bars.
Bars. Where to? Statistics. Where to?
Equation.
And enter. Plugs it in. Hit graph. Zoom out if you want to see the whole thing a little bit. That's pretty cool. My calculator just did the work. So guys and girls, in order for your calculator to work, in order for your calculator to do a quadratic regression, you can indeed have, you need to have a total of 3 points, total. 2 of the points need to be on one side of the vertex, and 1 of the points needs to be on the other side of the vertex. Okay? I guess technically all 3 could be on the same side. It should be able to recognize the pattern, but you need a total of 3 points to do quadratic. So, guys and girls, what did we say we were going to make do tomorrow?
Everything.
No, we were going to go over, so Q and R. So make sure Q and R are done. We'll check those off. And then S, we will reserve class tomorrow.
Coming with me.
Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Anyone stuck?
Yes, no.
So guys, girls, make sure you take care of one another out there. You have fun tonight.
Not the soccer game.
Good luck at the soccer game.
No, sir. I would, but I can't.